Welcome to the Deliberate Exchange. This is Chelsea. I'm so happy that you are here listening. I have a guilty pleasure of watching trash television. Well, it's not television, I guess. It's Netflix. I love watching trashy Netflix reality shows. Give me the Love Island, Temptation Island, Love is Blind, and currently The Perfect Match. Uh, I watch it for like a number of different reasons. Part of it is, like, to be perfectly honest, like a coping mechanism. Like, I'm just looking to tune out and not deal with anything. And there was a time that I would watch like endless hours of Netflix trying to tune out and numb out. And now it's probably like, maybe an episode a night kind of deal. So I'm really proud of that uh, trajectory or evolution, if you will. Part of why I also watch it though is because it's like a train wreck you're watching. Specifically, but I'm fascinated watching it and watching these people interact and watching how often alcohol makes them devolve. People become more emotional, more reactive, and like I'm just watching to see what the fuck they're going to do or what they're going to say next. And most often time I'm shaking my head. A lot of the time I'm like, oh, like she's dysregulated, or uh, you know, she's had too much to drink, and oh, like that's like an insecurity coming out, which might sound judgy, but that's okay. But sometimes when I watch these shows, I get some nuggets that hit me like, whoa, like that is so profound. I remember it happened, I can't even remember what show it was. And the line was something like, send people their flowers now. With the idea being like, don't wait until people are dead to tell them how much they mean to you, and so on. And like that really stuck out for me. I made a whole carousel and wrote about it in my newsletter because it like made such an impact. And another little nugget came out on The Perfect Match. So that's like the current thing that I'm watching. And this guy asked the girl what she was afraid of. And she responded with, I'm afraid of failing. And she said it so like matter of fact and so earnestly. And then he asked a follow-up question, which was, is it the fear of failure or the fear of people watching you fail? And like I rewound that like so many times, like to make sure I heard it correctly. And even the girl was like, whoa, like what an existential question. And then it got me really thinking about like failure. And of course, failure doesn't feel good. Nobody likes to fail. And I think about all the things that I do in a given day, and I'm holding on tightly, trying not to fail at it. Like this podcast is such an excellent example of that. Uh, Before I even started it, I was afraid of failing. I was afraid of not following through. I was afraid of people not listening. And so like I didn't want to start it because I didn't want to fail. Like I procrastinated, I waited. I wanted to feel more certain. I wanted to know that I wouldn't fail. And of course, like here we are, we're 82 or 83 episodes in. And, like I love doing these episodes. But then the fear of failure shows up in like how many, I like tonight it's 7:47, and I'm sure you'd be quite surprised at how many episodes I've tried to record tonight. And every time I'm like, no, that's not good enough, delete. Because I'm afraid that the episode will fail. I'm afraid that the message that I want to convey won't get across, which is this metric of failure that I'm thinking of. I'm afraid that it won't be succinct and nobody will listen. And if nobody listens, then that is considered a failure. I'm also thinking about, like, in the realm of failure and what it means or what I've made it mean. I think about when I was a boxer. So I was an amateur boxer for a period of time, and I think that's pretty badass. Like, and a lot of people think it's stupid getting hit in the face willingly, but it was like really a significant thing to train for and to do. And I remember before I even started like competing, just doing sparring at the gym, like to get ready for competition, and how frustrated and upset I would get if I would get hit in the face or if I felt like I didn't do as well. I would think that that was a failure. I kept going though, and eventually I competed as an amateur boxer. And guess what? I won. I won the fucking fight. This little 5'3¾" girl with the shortest arms, who's literally nicknamed T-Rex, ends up winning fight of the night. And like, I was so happy, so proud. If you see the pictures of me online, if you find the YouTube video, which is out there, like, I was so proud. And I never fought competitively again. And sure, I probably made some excuses about how I was like too busy, or maybe I was getting, headaches and stuff like that. Because of course I'm getting hit in the head. And it was also hard to find other women to compete with and against who are in my weight class. And so I never fought again. But I think a large part of why I didn't fight again was because I was afraid of losing. And losing meant I failed. And I absolutely couldn't do that. And I certainly I didn't want to be the one who failed and people were watching it happen. I didn't want people to see me fail and have that look of disappointment on my face as the other girl's hand is raised, if she had won. Because what I make it mean when other people are watching me fail is that my worth is now no longer intact. It means they think I'm less than, that I'm somehow stupid, that it means I'm not good enough. And that is too much. But like, I can sit and record and delete and record and delete as many times as possible. And like, that's okay. Like, I not quite getting it right doesn't have to mean failure. I think that failing is such an important thing to get good at, just like losing. And I think that those are connected. And I also think that perfectionism and our need to be perfect ties into this. That if we just check all of these boxes and we execute with a high degree of certainty and probability that it's going to work out, then like, we're good. But it doesn't work out that way. I think that the more that we fail and learn that nothing bad happens, the more we can create like an internal resilience and proof that nothing bad happens. That it isn't necessarily failing. It is just, I did something or I executed something to the best of my ability and it didn't work out. And so now I take that information, I take that data and evidence, and I apply it to another attempt. And maybe I'll fail at that too. And then I can repeat as many times as I want. There's a card that I pull often from one of the decks, the oracle decks that I deal with, and it says something like that. It says something to the degree of like, fail fast and fail often, because you learn that you're just starting again with experience, and that the failure does not dictate who you are or who you're becoming. It doesn't take away from what you've built. It just means, okay, we got to look at it a different way. But on the other hand, it's, like the fear of perception and the fear of failure and people watching you fail and what you think they think when you fail. Like that's a lot of mental gymnastics. That's a lot of uncertainty. And think about like the energy that is consumed when you are trying to manage that. Like, I don't want anybody to see me fail, because if they see me fail, then they're going to think I'm stupid, and they're going to think I'm not good enough, and they're not going to think I'm worthy enough. And so I'm just going to try and like make this thing, make this project, make this task, make this job as perfect as I can and execute it so that I don't risk failing, because failing means potentially a loss of connection. And while I still, like I said, when I heard that, is it the fear of people watching you fail? Like, yeah, like that is so true. But it's also something that I'm learning that I can work through, and that I can keep trying and failing. And in that very act of getting knocked down 10 times and standing up 11, I'm learning, and I'm building my character, and I'm building this internal strength and this aptitude of what works and what doesn't. And I'm not sure in like history and society where the fear of failure kind of came from, but I do know that it keeps a lot of us really anchored into unhealthy dynamics, habits, jobs, relationships, so on and so forth. Even when I was married and then asking for a divorce, I thought that getting divorced was a massive failure. Like, I really did. I thought like I couldn't do it. I couldn't be the best wife. I couldn't make my partner happy. I couldn't do the things, and I failed. I failed at maintaining a house, and I failed at, keeping my dog. Like, I failed. And then I felt it again when I got fired. I failed at my job, clearly. Like, what bigger indication of failure is getting fired, for crying out loud? But now my perspective and my understanding, and therefore my compassion, has grown so much more that I can see that all of those weren't failures. Like, you can interpret them as failures, but like, I was afraid of what people would think of me when they heard I got divorced, or what people would think of me when they heard I got fired, right? People watching me fail. That's scary. But as I said, I have been working through that, and I'm very quickly learning that to fail is to learn. And that also people are thinking about so many other things in their own lives and their own mental gymnastics that I'm not really concerned about, or sorry, they're not really concerned about what I'm failing at or not, right? Like, just look at all this capacity that I've taken to think about all these instances where people have watched me fail, or could have potentially watched me fail. There's no room for me to think about, oh, look at that other person, look at them failing. All I see is them trying and doing. And I can extend that same kind of latitude to myself. And so if you are in a position right now where you are concerned about failing, or you're concerned about what people will think if you fail, just see if you can soften that and understand that people are cheering you on more than you probably anticipate, and that nothing bad will happen if you do fail. So long as you get back up and try again and take that experience of that failure into the next opportunity and the next try, you'll be golden. So let me know what you think about failure, what you think about the fear of people watching you fail. Like, does that like hit you as it did for me? And also help me normalize. Like, are you watching these perfect match shows and these Love is Blind? Let me know which one is your favorite. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this episode, please be sure to review and to give it a rating. That's really helpful for me. And in the meantime, breathe it in, be deliberate, and please be good to yourself.